Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi Ibu-Ibu dan Bapak yang saya hormati. First, I would like to greet and respect two of my most senior guru in this room, Pak Anwar Nasution and Pak Emil Salim. Pak Anwar Nasution taught me to become a monetary economist some 25 years ago. But then I decided to jump fence after several years, because I find it more enjoyable. The field is greening, is more green on the other side of the fence. So that's why I keep working with Pak Emil Salim and enjoyed it very much within the past 20 years. First of all, disclaimer, because although it's mentioned that I'm working with the World Bank, none of what I'm saying can be attributed to the World Bank. That's pretty standard, I guess you all know about that. And secondly, the title of this comment basically is triggered by the what do you call it, resounding message in Dr. Garner's paper, as I get it, which is about we could have grown faster if the policy were right. So it concerns me a little bit. I know this is the paper about growth, but the title also talk about the equitable growth. So that's why I'm a bit concerned about whether we do spend enough attention to the word sustain and to the word equitable in the title. So next please. So I can control from here. I need to look at this. Let's play. So I would like also to say that what I'm offering here is some casual observations, not the hardcore research results. We did some results in house for some practical purposes, but not academic research. So this is among the casual observations I would like to offer to you. Let's observe it together. Let's play a little quiz. So this is the first question. When planning for economic growth and investment, government don't really look into for whom the growth is actually. Who agree with that? Huh? Very little people agree with that. Okay. Let's move. The second one, questions. We, the economists, never discuss the difference between GDP and GNP outside the classroom. We never talk about it in our work. Agree? Agree? Okay, good. Let's take a third question. When planning national income growth and investments, economists do not look into sub-national perspective. Agree? Who agree? Okay, again, very little. That's okay. Okay, let's. So I'm asking this question because this is related to what I'm going to say, and very much related to what Professor Garno is saying in his paper. So let's take the next slide. I guess this is my general comments on Professor Garno's paper. It is clearly a very solid analysis. There is no way I could question anything in it. And certainly not in the place to do so. The paper offers a very comprehensive understanding and certainly deepened my own understanding on the patterns of economic growth within the past 15 years, so to speak. Of course, as the title said, it focused mostly on the growth aspects. And then it repeatedly talked about missed opportunity to sustain growth. Again, growth. And then I don't see much talk about equality aspect in it, despite it is in the title, unless I missed a significant part of the paper, but I don't think so. So, and also this paper very much confirms research by other groups, like Raden said. So certainly the research in his group is also sending the same message, basically. And in the World Bank, there are a few regular publications that's already talk about it within the past 2 years. And also some studies under the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative has indicated problems in the resource sector in Indonesia. Overall, to me, the study creates the impressions that that kind of message. Let's remove the policy barriers so we can grow faster. And secondly, never mind of the loss of those land of the existing land use conflicts and other aspects about quality of growth, other than the carbon content in the GDP value. So we don't really see much the distributed impact and long-term growth resilience issue in the paper. So what I can do is only offer a few complementary perspectives, which I hope if it is done, will make the paper thicker for sure, and perhaps offer us a more comprehensive look also. This is what we call an anomaly in Indonesia economic growth from 2000 to 2012, not 2010, 2000 to 2012. We were experiencing very strong growth, but it is accompanied by a few anomalies in the system. We have the poverty have declined significantly. Government managed to cut poverty level rate into half, but this is followed by increase in inequality. And then, as Mas Iwan has shown, that we have clearly an anomaly in terms of the GDP and export growth pattern. The share of primary commodities have increased quite significantly, especially if you look at blocks of periods. I have the data, but I don't show it here. If necessary, we can discuss about it later. And then we can also see very clearly a very weak investment in manufacturing sector and infrastructure. Probably that's why all this analysis, all this trend shows this is the underlying factor that makes the economy is now facing a challenge of being trapped. Then this is another anomaly, the second one. I think we need to pay more attention to, as Rajan said. So we exploit more of our resources within the past 15 years. The commodity boom has given us that opportunity. And then so much economic rent created in the system. But unfortunately, fiscal revenue declined disproportionately. I also have the figures, but I don't bring it here. We can talk about it later. So, very strange. Then the second result of this fast growth is the increasing land use conflicts. There are more than 2,600 cases registered in BPN. But there are about 24,000 ongoing land conflicts in this country now. 24,000, and you're talking about growth. And all these land use conflicts are government-made, results of the government policy. We have 6 institutions allowed to issue land use licenses. Unfortunately, none of them are using. So they are not using one reference map, and they don't have obligation to coordinate with each other. So if there are 2,600 registered conflicts in VPN, who created them? It is the government who created the conflicts. Are we prepared to act with that? And mind you, the president has given more promise to the private sector. During the first month, what did he say? We guarantee a speedy process of investment licensing and easier access to get the land for investment. And it is being offered in this kind of situation. Next. Then under that pattern of growth, I think it is legitimate for us to ask these questions. Why should we need to exploit all our resources for the sake of economic growth? Why now? Why now? And the so-called efficiency, what is our time perspective? We have forget that efficiency has to be linked with certain objectives. We have forgotten that. So how far are we looking into the horizon? Efficiency for what? Is growth the only objective we care about in using these resources, in exploiting our land? So let's look into one example. And then one issue that is also resounding in the Professor Gano's papers is about one problem in the policy is that domestic processing requirement policy discourages investment. I would love to agree with that. But in the paper, we do not see the extent to the supporting facts to argue against that. There is no figure mentions about domestic resource cost. There is no figure mentions about the cost that has to be borne by the investor by investing domestically. In theory, yes, we all know about that. And thirdly, there is no distributive impact calculated from that process. We all know about efficiency. Yeah? And then the last one there is no calculations on values of improved resource governance. I think one of the message behind that is that if it is processed domestically, then in theory the government could also do the rent extractions better on the resources. But as Professor Gano has mentioned himself, there is not enough balancing policy in the system. Okay, let's take this example. Again, I would like to say this. Some of you have seen this before, so I just would like to remind you. This is a particular case in East Kalimantan, the most resource-rich province in Indonesia. They grow fastest during the last decade, 9% per annum. And this is, I would like to offer this to Mas Iwan as the next dissertation topic of your student, Mas. GDRP for East Kalimantan is 90 million rupiah in 2010. But look, net factor income from abroad is 54. And GNRP, the GNRP per capita only 36 million because of that. And then if you subtract this number with this one that come from, if you subtract this number with this one from Bappenas, you get this from Susanas. What we are seeing there is that actually out of the 90 million income per capita, GDP per capita generated in East Kalimantan, only 10 million is enjoyed by the people of Kalimantan per capita. And then who pays for this one? Who pays for this price? You could imagine, if this is calculated, how much the 10 million would remain? Probably minus. And I'm not making this up. This is overwhelming. This is much worse than this. This is only examples. And this is what we call this development, right? This is what we call growth. And next. Okay, this is, let me be being provocative here. If I were a Dayak man, these are my questions. How far should and can we depend on the natural resources for the growth of economy in East Kalimantan? How can I benefit from the growth that use the resources of mine? Why should my people be marginalized, being kicked off of the land because some investors want to invest to make money and government wants to grow the economy? For whom is the growth? That's the perspective I would like to offer. Then, talking about sustained growth, look at the fourth bullet there, the last bullet. Is there any shift toward income generating capacity in the future? Have we learned anything from Venezuela experience when the oil revenue was reinvested in the hydropower plants to sustain and change the source of income from non-renewables into renewables? How much that happens in East Kalimantan? How much that happens in our context? Rather than talk about, some people claim we are still rich. But mind you, we don't have the figures. We don't have the figures of our wealth. We don't have a credible record of the so-called wealth, especially natural wealth. A process just started in UPS to start building the so-called natural capital account in a more credible way. We do have SISNERLINK, System of Integrated Account of Environment and Economy. It's been there for 17 years, but no one uses it. And because no one uses it, no one cares for the quality of the data. So a new move has been revitalized. Government now committed to make it into a data system that can be used by all people talking about natural resources. And Ministry of Finance has been interested with the data because with a credible resource data, they can plan the revenue better. They can manage the asset better. And Bapanas also talk about it. Say, well, how could we talk about ANS, adjusted net saving, if we have a lousy natural capital stock information? So this is what is going on at the moment. So I guess I would just offer this complementary recommendation. If there are some opportunities to make the paper thicker, this is, I think, a very strong recommendations from the natural resources community. Fix the land use licensing system. So for those of you who are advocating the ban of the moratorium, you should really talk to people who are working in the environmental and natural resources community. We need the moratorium until the new licensing regime is in place and until one MAP program is there. If not, then we are going back to square one, in which government is continuing creating conflict. That's what it means, if moratorium is disbanded now. Okay, let's rethink also about the distributions policy. How do we improve people's access to productive resources? Should we learn from Canada, one of the most capitalist country in the world, but guarantee that the natural resources exploitations, if it is used for commercial, the rights of ownership is guaranteed in the system, in the company. So the community directly gets benefit of the company's profit. And we call ourselves Panchasilas, and we keep people out of the lands and property. So I just would like to put that on the table for our thoughts. So maybe relevant. Please ignore it if you see that it's not relevant to this. Thank you.